Computer. Can you guys see the recording?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Queen Osset here. What you are now watching is a pre-recorded event. Unfortunately, we're not doing this live because it's very early in the morning. But today I wanted to introduce you to a beautiful artist, a new artist on the scene of the tarot world. I'd like everyone to welcome Nydia of Colored Afro's Art. Say hi, Nydia.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
This is exciting, right? So Nydia
Yeah.
is the creator of the deck that, yes, the Afro Avatar deck that Christina and I talked about in our last session. And Nydia was gracious enough to grant us an interview, I guess you could say a chit chat, coffee clutch discussion in regards to her concepts, ideas, fleshing out some of those questions that our inquiring minds were turning around at the last time we were going through this deck. So I am going to put on my glasses because I'm blind as a bat, so I can see what the devil I'm doing. So Nydia of Colored Afro Art. What an interesting name. Tell me about it.
Well, the idea behind Colored Afro's art, I wanted it to basically, like, when you see the name, you pretty much know what I'm about. Colorful, beautiful, like Afrocentric art. Like, I do anything, like I use all the colors, anything bright, anything vibrant. I use a lot of afros in my art. So when I was creating the name, it was just kind of, I think I drew a picture of a girl with like a blue afro. And I was just like, you know what, that's going to be the name of my business, Colored Afros. Because I had dwelled on it for a long time. I wasn't sure what I was going to call my business, but it just kind of came to me right then and there.
Nice, nice. Okay, so I've been to your website and I am really impressed by your work. So folks, I'm going to put a link, Christina, yeah, thank you, Christina, to her website. I'm telling you, this young lady, and she's young, guys, like she called me ma'am, and I felt like 105 years old. um, she's inspiring, she's creative, she's imaginative, and she has stepped into the world of tarot like gangbusters. So Nydia, can you tell me about your own journey in regards to tarot? Like, how did you come? Are you a card slinger? Yeah, have to be.
Yes. Okay. So I first started off with cardology. So it's like an Aboriginal based like card science where you use the deck of 52 cards with the clubs, the spades, the hearts, and the diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off with that. It's very math based. You use quadrate plates to read about your day and your week. And that I kind of struggled with it a little bit because I'm not a very like mathematical person. Like I resonate more with like images. So that's when I started like going into tarot, and I was just like, it was easier for me to read and do like spreads and stuff and be able to look at images and pictures and like put them together than it was for me to do the math and like equations and read the meanings of the cards and stuff in the cardology. So I just kind of fuse them together. So that's what I like to do. I use the tarot meanings and the cardology meanings, and I put them together, and that helps me with both of them. And that's what I like to do. I'm still pretty new about it. I was thinking about doing a YouTube channel or something where I do cards or do readings for other people, but I just want to like perfect my craft before I bring it out to the public.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you started by introducing us to this beautiful creation That's the Afro Avatar Tarot.
Thank
And
you.
can you tell me why you chose to create this deck based on what I used to think was a child's cartoon?
Mm-hmm. Um, I I have already done some Avatar inspired paintings in the past, and already had this idea in my head to create a deck, but I wasn't sure what theme I wanted to go with. So I was kind of like, I started with the queens. I was drawing the queens over and over again in different styles. And then I was just going through my phone one day and I found this painting that I did a while back of the elements in the Avatar series. And so it just kind of like clicked in my head to put them together. So I was like, you know what, let me just see where I can go with this idea. And I was looking on the internet looking for an Avatar inspired deck and I couldn't find one. So I just kind of took it upon myself to create it, see what I can do. Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, I really appreciate you doing that. So, what about the Avatar, The Last Airbender, inspired you? Like, what about that story? What about that concept inspired you to take it to this level?
It's just a very rich story. Like all the characters have so much depth to them. Like even in the villains in the story, they all have like layers and parts to them that I think everybody can resonate with on some sort of level. And the messages in the story and like the spiritual gems that are dropped throughout the series, I was just like, there is no way like you cannot get some sort of like spiritual message from the show. And it just relates to tarot in so many ways, like the journey from the fool to the world, like in the major arcana, is expressed throughout the whole show.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, really like.
I know. I'm not finished watching the whole series just yet,
Mhm.
but I'm pulled in. Like seriously, I'm pulled into the story. And the more I watch it, the more I can see the relation in the tarot. Like it's giving me some gems. I feel like when I'm watching the show and I have my own little white book that I can fill in some more nuances in regards to, you know, in regards to the cards themselves. Okay, so my audience who's watching, you guys remember Christina, she's there. Okay, say hi, Christina.
Hello, everybody.
And Christina is like my authoritative figure on this show. Like, I go to Christina for a lot of things. All right, Christina is like a walking library. So I have no qualms about stepping in. She gives me that look. um, so I've asked Christina to be here, you know, to help me ask the questions. I'm just going to switch the camera over and do the comparisons of the Afro Avatar with the traditional Rider-Waite folks. You know, that ugly yellow box that we all love so much. Um, but we're not going to give away too much of the series. Like we'll flesh out some things, right? Maybe some things in the cards you should look for, and such. But even so, you can tell the story and still, I think, create a desire to watch the show because there's still so many things within the show that when you see the creation or the artwork on the card, you're like, oh my gosh, I see it now. Now I understand it, right? And you could take some things away. So without further ado, I'm going to switch the camera over and let's take a look here. Stop the video. US Live B. Ah, there we are. And that's the box. The deck itself comes in a 2-piece box. It's beautifully constructed. Um, comes like that for you guys who are, you know, impressed by such things. It's small enough, I think, compact enough that it could sit on your shelf. The cards themselves, as we get to it, I think I showed this before, that gilding is astonishing. when we get done with the deck, I'll put it all together so we can take a look. But that gilding is fantastic. Okay, so this is the Fool, and that is Aang.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that's and he's it's the scene where like in the opening sequence where he's standing on the ledge and the camera's kind of like panning around to the valley, and it's kind of like marks the start of his journey, or it marks like his optimism and his confidence going into, you know, fulfilling his destiny.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now, Christina, you and I had discussed this card a little bit, the Magician, and that is Aang when he's
In the avatar state.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right. That shows that. We talked a little bit about that in our previous recording. That one of the things I have noticed right now through the series, that when he gets into the avatar state, that when he comes out of it, he's very drained, he's tired. So we know that the magician, you know, quote unquote, has everything to manifest or create what they want. They're supposed to be in charge of like all of their faculties and such. But for me, watching the avatar and watching Aang go through that avatar state and then be drained at the end of it tells me that he has not mastered everything just yet. And that was one of the questions I always had about Tarot. Like right after the Fool, we get into the Magician. I don't know if you remember me having that discussion. Like, how do you go from the Fool to the Magician? Just that jump without working on things. And maybe that's why I feel like sometimes the Magician should go a little further down. But then, you know, I'm sure you're going to have people, tarot out there, the esoteric readers and such, that will give me a better explanation as to why the Magician comes after the Fool. But I'm moving on. Okay. But that's just one of those questions that I've always asked. Okay. High Priestess.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, who is that?
That's the river spirit
Uh,
from. Mm-hmm. She's in one of the Earth Kingdom tribes, and she's kind of like this legend that they have. She's like a very gentle, like nurturing, healing type of person, and she, like in one of the episodes, like this village is very famished, and they have no fishing, and all like they're just all starved, and the gang goes in there, and Katara kind of takes on this persona of the river spirit, and she goes and feeds everybody in the night and kind of gives them that hope again, so they don't lose faith in the spirit. And I just kind of got very high priestess vibes from her. Um, the high priestess is a very healing feminine woman, and kind of like Katara in a way. She's like a mirror to Katara.
Tara.
So,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite avatars. She's turned out to be one of my favorite avatars. And I don't believe I've seen the last of her yet. Have I?
I
I
don't
hope
think so.
not.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I bought the 2 books. There's 2 books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So we know that this is Kyoshi, right? And I know the story of Kyoshi. And as Christina and I said in the previous video, this has been my ride or die. This has been like my stalker card for a number of years. And I have a better appreciation of Kyoshi being my stalker card now. Knowing her story, knowing her background, I have a better understanding. Yes. Okay. All right. So now we get here. And I thought that was the Fire Lord, but it's not. That would be,
Because that's his father, or it's either his father or no, that's his father.
It's his father,
Um,
the Fire Lord's father,
mhm.
right? Azula?
Azula?
Azulan, yeah.
Azula, yeah, right? Okay. All right. And you have to watch the show to understand his role, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have the Hierophant, which is
That's
um
Bow spirit that guards the library. I forgot his name. I think it's like Bow. Do you know it, Christina?
Wan Shi Tong.
Wan Shi Tong. Mm-hmm.
wow, okay. I wouldn't have remembered that, but okay. All right. So I haven't come to that just yet in the
Mm-hmm.
show. All right, Washington. I'm going to be looking out for that and make that connection. All right. This, since the last time Christina and I did a recording, I have met um, that group of wonderful people right there. I truly adore them. It's almost like in the show that they seem a little out of place in that episode. You have to watch it. I'm just going to say that. So it was for me. It was just like a little disconcerting because it just their vibe, who they are, whatever. It like was more modern per se. If that makes any sense. But you know, they
Like very
certainly
eccentric people.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, I love it. I love it. All right, Christina, please interrupt or step in. You got me. I don't want to do all the talking here.
Well, I did have a question for you,
Yes.
Nydia.
Mm-hmm.
The art on your site, what medium do you use for most of your art?
It's mostly acrylic paint.
Okay.
Yes,
What was your, like, why did you choose to go to like digital art in combination with photographic or photos for this?
yes. I originally was going to paint all of the cards by hand, but then I realized it would be, I was like in a financial crunch for that. So I was like, you know what, let me just get my iPad. I got Procreate, and that was a way that I could do all of these cards in like a cost-effective way. So I learned how to do digital art by working on this deck. That was my first ever like digital experience.
So when you're talking about that, we're talking about the combination here like
Yeah.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Good for you, teaching yourself how to use a new medium. Because
Yeah.
often that's a barrier for people. They feel if there's not something they can do within the things that they already know, that's it. I give up.
Mm-hmm.
But what you've just shown is that you need to take that extra step. Okay, maybe I need to teach myself how to do these things. Good for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was a do or die type situation. I was like, I need to figure out how to get this done, because when I have ideas, if I don't get it out, it'll just stay there and like bother me. So I was like, I need to get these cards out of my head some way, somehow.
okay, good for you, really.
Thank you.
Mm.
Okay. Um, well, we know this is one of our favorite characters there, right? Very loyal, Apu. And you had talked about them being the hybrids. And you said that this is one of the original characters from the story, right, Christina?
I think this is one of Nydia's original characters. Maybe?
Oh, yeah, she is.
Okay, yeah.
She's an original character. Yes.
Okay.
She looks like, now that I'm looking at your, like when I've been looking at your art, she reminds me of your avatar Okoye.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what
Yeah,
okay.
yes, that's who she was modeled after, with the long ponytail.
Oh no,
Did
stupid
it go?
iPad. I'll put it back up so
Okay.
you because this is what I was looking at. Cute. And okay, let's see to make it as
Oh yeah, yes. Yes. That is I was looking at that. I might have to purchase that.
I did that one maybe about 2 years ago,
Really?
maybe a little longer.
I
I had just watched Black Panther, so I
yes,
was like,
exactly. Okoye, which is one of my favorite, of course, my favorite character. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I like it. Um, and of course, now that I see it, because you said Apu is a hybrid of a bison. What else?
Well, I think he was influenced by the Totoro
Yeah.
atlas.
But you said most of the animals in this deck, or this show, are hybrids of something. I guess I'm just making a different correlation because Okoye from Black Panther, I always associate her with Oya for me, which is ruled by the buffalo. The buffalo is one of Oya's avatars. So for me, Okoye is Oya. That's just me. That segue. Okay.
And that's another layer that you can bring in with
Exactly.
your experience.
Exactly. And Oya. So Apu is, does his best through the air, and Oya is the air. She's the wind. See that? Okay. That's just
yeah,
me.
that's amazing. See, that's what I mean. Like, y'all bring this life to deck. I mean, not this deck to life,
Life.
with
Yeah.
your knowledge and experiences. Like,
Right.
there's interpretations that, I would never come up with in 1,000 years, but they're like amazing interpretations because, you have that experience and you can look at the art and see something like totally different. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I love about art.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. This is, this is Ang.
Yes, that's
All right.
aim.
That's Ang. All right.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, this gentleman.
Yes. He's the banana and onion monk that helped Aang discover how to unlock his chakras and achieve the avatar state.
Oh, so
Mhm.
I have not encountered him in the show yet. No.
Yes, he comes a little later.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Bananas and onions.
You'll understand what she's
Oh,
referencing.
okay. All right. Woo. Wheel of Fortune. Um,
So that image right there, when they were in the library, that's actually the calendar that they used. I'm not gonna tell you what they were using it for, but that's the
oh,
calendar. Mhm.
okay.
So it's a very Wheel of Fortune is kind of like the seasons and the
Then,
cyclical nature of life. So I kind of wanted to include that calendar as that.
okay. All right.
You'll see more connection.
Yes. Okay.
Excellent.
Justice?
Justice. Hmm. That's the blue spirit.
Yes. Yes. And we'll leave it at that.
Hmm.
We'll leave it at
I
that.
don't want to spoil anything.
Yes. And then this, okay. Um, I told you I watched the series up until I got to this point and I learned something about the third state of being. And so the hangman, as I have learned, one of the states is the point of doing nothing until it's time to do something. I'll leave it there, which is just perfect. Um, this, we pretty much know who that person is. Yeah, the Fire Lord. He is all about. Does he have a story that we'll find out too? Because he seems to be very aggressive.
The Fire Lord, yes, you'll learn a little bit more about his character, like how he was. towards his family.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And this person has stolen my heart,
Yes, Uncle.
right? Yes. So we talked about that a little bit in the previous video, so we'll leave that where that is. But I think that the story helps me understand the energy of this better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always, I know a lot of people say that temperance is about balance, and I never felt that temperance was about balance. I've always felt that temperance was about harmony,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I feel that more so here,
Mm-hmm.
in understanding, right? This is not about balance for me. It's more about harmony, give and take, ebb and flow. You know, for me, balance has always been that struggle for that 50-50. And in trying to attain that, you never attain balance. But I like the energy of this, the harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He stole my heart. Okay. So this pretty much, we kind of know who. Yeah. That we no explanation there. Watch the show. You'll know who that is. Okay. Um, and then this we talked a little bit about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, so that's the library. I haven't gotten to that portion just yet. Um, okay.
Oh, I do have another question.
Yes.
Throughout your deck, Nydia, you have like little points of light,
Mm-hmm.
like here in the tower, and in some of the court cards, you have those points of light. What was the story behind incorporating those?
For this tower right here, I put the light in there to kind of like symbolize that it was coming down in a way. Because before when well, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it without revealing too much, but I I don't know, I wanted to make it seem like the tower was like alive and it was coming down.
Okay.
So that was the point of the light in the tower. And then as far as like the kings and queens, I wanted to show like a little bit of like divinity and like kind of distinguish them from like the pages and the knights by putting like the light behind their head, and then like using points of light like on various parts of their body to kind of show where their like power comes from.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
We're going to take a look at some of those things too.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Uh, so let's just say this is where we all get to meet Aang.
mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay. Here, that is, watch the show. For me, when I saw the story behind that, that to me is one of great sacrifice for the good of all as well,
Mhm.
knowing that story. So it just added another layer to the meaning of the moon for me. I don't know if she had to do that.
What is your story behind the butterflies in the card?
The butterflies, they're kind of like, I wanted to show like levitation, I guess. So the butterflies are like, they're really transformative. One, like I've always looked at the butterfly as a symbol of transformation. And that's kind of like the moon. The moon like changes its phases throughout the course 28 days. So like the moon is a symbol of adaptability, like transformation, just like the butterfly is. And then the butterflies are also kind of like, I put them in there to show movement as well. So like just to kind of like make it look like she's floating above the water, like flying with the butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Okay.
The sun.
All right, I'll just leave that there. We'll just leave that. You know, you incorporated, so this is the digital art we were talking about as well, right? Down there. And then your paintings in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think the more I'm looking at the deck, the more I can see the combination of the digital art in combination with your painting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one, we haven't got to that point of the show just yet. We'll leave that there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And then we have that. And even that in regards to the show, of course, definitely haven't gotten to the show yet, but I have a feeling that the end of the series does not end with that. Am I correct? Yeah, see, I know, I'm feeling it. Let's just say I don't want it to end with that. Okay, so let me move this over. Let's take a look at, so for the most part, the aces, pretty much echo
Yep.
the aces from the traditional Rider-Waite. The twos can do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know the story behind that. I know there's a story behind that.
Mm-hmm. That is meant to be Zuko embarking on his journey.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
beginning his journey.
Yes, and you'll see that later. Or I don't know if you've already seen it, but at some point in the show, Zuko kind of goes into finding himself. So that's what that Two of Wands represents.
Okay. These twos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is someone in the show. This is an energy in the show.
No, that is the original character.
Okay.
I tried to put some different characters in there just to create some diversity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then this is from the show.
Yes, that's from the show.
Okay. All right. Let's get to the threes. That's your original artwork?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes, that's the original.
That's okay. Yeah. And these three. Now that's show.
Mm-hmm. Yes, those are the Kyoshi warriors.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. So now we get to the fours.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The Four of Wands, that is like a very brief scene in the show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this Four of Cups?
That is an original character.
Okay. And the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Swords.
Mm-hmm. Those are both from the show.
Okay. We discussed that in our last video there, Christina, a while ago. The Four of Cups. Is that original? Is that from the show? I feel like that's from the show.
Yes, that is Zuko. I mean, not Zuko, that's Sokka.
Sokka.
Yes.
Okay. I'm really still working on keeping the names straight because it's so close together,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. All right. And the 5 here.
Mm-hmm. The Five of Pentacles is based off the Cabbage
Man. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's the original?
Yes, that's an original character right there.
All right. 6.
Yeah, so Six of Wands is a coronation scene. Uh-huh. And then the Six of Cups is like the water tribe children.
Yes, I think I saw that. They're just so adorable.
Mhm.
It's so adorable, you know. Okay. And then we have,
Yes, those are both scenes from the show. The Six of Pentacles, when Zuko and Iroh, they're kind of out trying to, um, they're not as distinguished as they're used to be.
yeah.
And then we have the Six of Swords, that's Aang and Appa in a scene, that was the swamp.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah, that was another scene that was a little disconcerting, because it's almost like they threw some modern stuff in there in the swamp characters. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about? Like, yeah.
The crazy, the poachers.
Yes, the
Mm-hmm.
cultures. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, little bizarre. It threw me off
Yeah.
a little bit, right? I wasn't expecting to see or hear that there, and that's what I mean about the show being. I'm not even going to say diverse. I feel that it's a show where I feel like I belong. I could be part of that show. I can relate to that show. And it's the philosophy, simply because I just feel like it embraces a lot without struggling to embrace or try to make something fit, if that makes any sense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Seven of Wands.
Yes, that is Mai. You'll meet her later.
Okay.
And I gave her a Seven of Wands energy for a reason, but I don't know if y'all want me to explain it or not without going too in depth.
Okay, so she's part of. Okay, so she's part of the show. We have to watch the show, and
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about the Seven of Cups
Mm-hmm.
last time. Okay, Seven of Pentacles and Seven of Swords.
Mm-hmm. So the Seven of Swords, that is when they're kind of in the Fire Nation.
Okay. Oh yes, yes, I remember that scene. They the like the masquerade or celebration.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I remember that now. And this is your work.
Yes, that's the Seven of Pentacles represents like the farmer agricultural side
Right.
of the Earth
Sure.
Kingdom.
You know what? I did want to ask you, why did you use pentacles as opposed to like coins or discs?
I think I just chose Pentacles because I was trying to go with the Rider Waite, like the basic,
Yeah.
sword, Pentacles, cups, and
Hmm.
wands. Um, I didn't realize, like, it wasn't until I started exploring more decks, like more in depth, that I realized that people would trade out the suits for other items. So
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that pretty much, like when I was making this deck. And I wanted it to be simple, I guess, so people could pick it up easy.
Sure, sure.
But had I known, like if I went back and created it knowing what I know now, I would probably have switched it up a little bit, especially with the swords, because the air nomads were known to be, they weren't very violent people. Like they didn't carry weapons. They fought more on the defensive side than the offensive
This is
side.
why.
So I
Okay.
would have definitely switched out the swords.
All right. So do
Mhm.
you think that you'll be recreating this deck a little bit in the near future or somewhere down the line in the future?
I really want to. I think I am because it's something I really want to do, and it keeps like digging at me. So I might come out with a different, like remastered version, and
Okay.
I want to include more details like zodiac signs and like planets, and kind of like intertwine it with cardology a little bit and
Okay.
use those suits. So and have a guidebook as well.
Oh,
So there's a lot that I want to, tweak in the deck.
yeah,
So
it's a great undertaking. I do appreciate you wanting to do that. So 8 of Wands, 8 of Cups, that's pretty much standard. Um,
Yeah, those are, yeah, I tried to keep those near the Rider Waite. And that 8 of Cups is Sokka.
yeah, I was thinking that was the storyline. I could see that there. Okay. Um, 8 of Pentacles, right? 8 of Swords there. So yeah, we talked about I'm going to pull aside the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords to show the progression. Let me do let me do 9 of Wands, 9 of Cups.
The 9 of Cups is, I wanted to show Katara like in her full power and ability, you know, when she kind of grows into herself.
Okay.
So, and then the 9 of Wands, that's Zuko. And you'll see how he kind of like harnesses that energy like later in the show.
All right. And then we have the 9 of Pentacles. And of course, but I'm going to put all 3 of those together. So that, all right. So that's Ang again. And then we have the 9 of Pentacles. And what is it that we had said about this 9 of Pentacles energy here, Christina?
I think, were we talking about how it's that the Pentacle suit?
Wasn't this supposed to represent, was this from the show?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. We're going to get to that in just a second. Yeah. And then we get to the 10. Why am I cookied? Why am I cookied here? Oh, God. Okay. Is that's original?
Those are all the characters kind of huddled up, like all of the main characters.
Right.
So that's Toph, Sokka, Katara, Aang, Momo, and Appa.
Okay.
And I just realized there's not an arrow on Aang's forehead. I did not notice it.
Okay.
It's always things that
Afterwards.
Yes. And I nitpicked this deck, my Virgo brain. I was like, okay, I went through all the cards and I double checked everything, but I did not see that.
So, okay. Maybe have to put maybe I'll have to put a little arrow myself. It doesn't matter, I guess. Can do that. Okay. All right. Now, and then of course, the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords. So, 8, 9, and 10 for Aang. We could see that buildup of that stress and anxiety for him here. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the eight is a specific point in the show where he's trying to learn a specific element, and he's learning the discipline part of it, which is really hard for him. And that's kind of like the point where he's like in his head, just kind of like getting in his own head and getting in his own way about it.
Yeah.
About mastering it.
Okay. All right. So let's get to the court cards now, because I did have some questions. So this represents, see if I can get them all. I don't know if I can get them all here. Can I get them all?
Trying to just
Okay. I'm trying to do it that way. Okay. Page of Wands.
Mm-hmm. That is Zuko.
Zuko. Kitara.
That's Sokka.
Oh, that's Sokka.
Good
Page
mother.
of Cups. Did we say that? Didn't you say that? You did tell me that, didn't you, Christina, that this was Sokka?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is, that's her name, Toth?
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay.
Have you gotten to Toph in the series yet?
Yes, I have. I love her. I love that feisty being. I love her. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes. 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 Right. And it's wonderful that she would embrace supposedly the most tangible element using other things that she has. Like, that's what I'm saying. People, if you're listening, you have to watch the show because you're going to be like, wow.
It's such a message. That's why I love it. It's like that idea that sometimes it's the people you would least expect, or the
Right.
people you feel you're the people you feel are the least equipped to do something. Like that's what they're meant to do.
Yes.
Because they find a better way.
Yes. Yes. They find a way. Talks about no limits, limits, right? Not limited. Okay. So now we have our knights.
Yes, I'm not sure if you've gotten to her yet, but she is a character in the show.
Okay. And
the others, the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles, those are just a representation of like the warriors from those tribes and the animals that they ride.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we know who that is.
Yes, that's Aang.
Yeah, that's my buddy Aang. All right, now here's where it gets interesting for me. I'm probably gonna have to go back. I probably should go backwards. So I'm just going to say one thing, and then I'm gonna pull the kings. So when I look at the queens, all of them, okay, they're active, like they are moving their elements, right? Mm-hmm. And they have the light at the place that they govern, I guess you can say, mm-hmm. right? And you really see the movement, like you could see it. This one, you really see it in the earth. You can see it here in the cups energy, and definitely see it in the fire, right? Okay. But then you have the kings. And what was the question that we had about, like, the kings? So usually in traditional tarot, I mean, the energy of the kings, that they're the ones that are active traditionally. And yet you made the queens the active ones. And I feel like that story of the queens ties back to the story in the show. Am I correct in making that assumption?
Yes, you're correct. I made the kings the way they are and the queens the way they are to reflect how they are in the show.
Okay.
When you see the kings, like every single king that you see in the show, except for King Boomy, they're all just kind of sitting. You know, they're sitting back. You know, the Fire Lord is sitting on his throne with the fire around him. The king of Ba Sing Se, he's the figurehead for the town. And then you have the King of Swords representing the monks. They kind of they're like guides, and they have council meetings, and they don't really go out and do like get their hands dirty, I guess.
Right.
So I wanted the kings to exhibit like a gentle strength where they're not really showing off their abilities, but you know they have them because they're the king, but they don't have to go out and really do anything. They're just kind of like the head, or like the figurehead, I guess.
Right.
But you have the queens in the show, and the women in the show are the ones that are really doing the most work. They're the ones that are making things move and getting things done. With the Queen of Wands, it's supposed to look like the mother, Zuko and Azula's mother. She has a very active role in their life. And then you have the Queen of Cups, which is Katara. She's very active, being a bender and all, compared to her brother Sokka, who is also a fighter, but Katara has a little more of an advantage when fighting with opponents. And then you have the Queen of Pentacles. I wanted to make her levitating. You don't really see a queen in the Airbender series, but I figured if they put one in there, she would be the same way. She would be very active. She would be out in the cities, counseling people.
Right.
And then the Queen of Swords, she's like levitating. She's the action oriented, just like the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the queens are the ones that go out into the world and interact with people and, make things move. And the kings just kind of sit back, and they're the advisors. They kind of tell what they want to happen, or, what to do. And the queens go out and get it done.
Okay. So that's where Katara is, because in the pages,
You have the main crew in the pages except for Katara.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that she's a queen.
Yeah, I look at her more as like the mom of the group. Like every group of friends has the mom.
Yeah.
That is definitely Katara. So I feel like she has that queen energy.
Mm-hmm.
She's always nurturing them. And everybody, she has like an older soul, I feel like, than the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, she's fiercely protective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying watching her growth, even when she's dealing with Toph, right?
Right.
That was very challenging. And I felt for her, you know what I mean? Like I felt for her. Having her heartstrings pulled at, like she still has that feeling. And she's still like focused on the goal. When Aang, I guess you could say, betrayed them earlier on, with all of that. She still had, like you said, she was like the mother figure, like, okay, what you did was wrong, da 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 da, but we have something else that's more important that needs to be achieved right now,
Mm-hmm.
So, and her brother, he's I think after his encounter with Yue, I think he grew up a tidge.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that, he learned love and loss that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I felt for him.
Sokka is a very gentle character, even though he's very funny and he puts up a front. He's very sensitive, and that's why I liked him as the Page of Cups as well, because he's always trying to extend that cup to somebody or something. Like he just wants that companionship, and he's very, very gentle. He's very sensitive. It's easy to make him mad.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Very sensitive and always hungry.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Anything else, Christina?
So you did bring up that the image of the swords and the pentacles themselves may not have been the desired choice after you
Mm-hmm.
thought some more about it. What would you like to change them to, if you could have an idea right now?
If I could change them,
yeah.
For the swords, I would definitely probably go with like a staff or something more common to the air nomads. And then I would change the wands, because the staff and the wands look way too similar. I'm not sure what I would change the wands to, but as far as the pentacles, I would definitely use their currency that they show in the the show.
Right.
They're like little coins with
Coins. Uh-huh.
squares on them, I
Right.
think.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been really cool to do.
Yeah. Because I think maybe that's what was it was throwing me off a little bit, the pentacle, because pentacle seems to be more, the Western idea, Western philosophy. So I was looking for coins or discs or coins, especially when I started to see them in the show. Right. Yeah. So
I
that's
think that would definitely fit a lot better.
yeah. But like I said, it's still beautiful. I mean, it's still beautiful. And I do like that you put the symbol in the middle of the disc,
Yeah.
What I think is
right?
interesting is that I think each suit, like the cup has water in it that the waterbenders can bend. The swords have the air, and the staff is connected with the fire. So it relates to each element that they bend.
Right.
And in the pentacle itself, I mean, you can talk about the metal benders later on, but the metal, the pentacle itself is not as representative of the element that they can bend. So maybe that's why we saw like a dissonance offset.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe there was that connection. So we couldn't see the true strength of the earthbending
element
as represented.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So just something to think about, because that's when, yes, words all set, words. Okay, I have them today. It's early in the morning. Okay, I have them. Going through the deck, like I found every suit very strong and powerful. Then when I got to the earth element, it was like, I'm not feeling that strength. I'm not feeling that push, that drive, that power. And not necessarily in comparison with the show, because I saw what that tribe, the capabilities, and I was like, okay, I'm looking at this card, but I'm not feeling it. Feeling it, right? So, but it's still there. When I got to the Queen of Earth, for me, that was like, that's the energy of the earth element for me. Like she's freaking levitate, like a piece of like she's pulled that up, that's the energy of that I felt. So, I mean, seriously, Nydia, you have done, I mean, I just think that you've done a great job. I really have. I love it.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You guys can't see. I don't know if you've tested how many times you shuffle this deck. I don't think there's going to be. I'm not one of those people that concerns myself with chipping and all of that. Okay. You're supposed to have some chipping in a deck. You should. That means that you've used the deck, right? You've worked with it, that it's got your oils and your fingerprints on it. Right? I mean, look at that. What? You see that? It's just a beautiful. Seriously? I don't know if you check for all of that. I don't know I don't know anything about GSMs, and I know for a lot of people that matters. For people that want to know, let's just say this is better than Llewellyn's current card stock. Okay, it's still a nice, flexible, soft card. Still bendy, but without actually breaking the card, because some decks you can shuffle them and crack the card because the card is so thin. But it's just like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Right? Just look at that. See, look at that. That brings me so much joy. Look at that. Right? It just brings me so much. Well, there you go. And that's the message for today. All right. So what do you think the message for today is, especially with those two cards?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, sure. What do you
Oh,
think?
okay. Let's see. So justice, you have like you're making an informed decision. You're deciding to go about a path, like pretty much making your judgment call, I guess, on the situation. Three of Swords. I would take this as like understanding, like maybe you lost something or you feel like you had something that you lost or you felt betrayed or whatever. But there's just as card as you looking at it from like an objective point of view and understanding why it happened, why it had to happen that way. And, you know, taking your lesson from that and, you know, making the decision to cut that out or, you know, move into a different direction. It's like being able to overcome like the emotional side of loss and looking at it from, you know, this had to happen this way so that this could happen.
Right, right.
That's kind of that's how I would interpret that.
Okay. What do you think, Christina?
So very, I mean, she hit the nail on the head, definitely. Um, and then I would also maybe add, um, the Three of Swords could be from the perspective of the justice, the person who's trying to make the judgment, or if your choice involves something that may affect someone else, you know, is the choice worth it if there's the possibility of affecting somebody else?
Right.
And so like seeing it from both perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we hold off forever from making decisions because we're afraid we're going to affect someone else,
Right.
nothing would get done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So having the courage, having the knowledge and the, I guess, the mindfulness of just being aware of what may happen if you make a decision, and just whatever consequences, whatever comes from it, just and being ready for it and taking responsibility for what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, for me, with justice, there is no winning side. No matter which way you make your decision, there is always going to be something else that there'll be casualties. I'll put it to you that way. There's going to be some sort of casualty. And sometimes, in order to be at this place, we have to remove the emotional attachment from things, right? Temper down the emotional drive of things and get to a place of clarity and see the truth in some things. And sometimes that truth can cause us a lot of pain, but we still have to stay in that place of truth.
You don't realize that you're basically given a spoiler, and I can't wait for you to figure out what it is. Are you sure you didn't finish the show all set?
No, I did not. But wow. So talk about reading this intuitively and such, right? Mm-hmm. Especially these two together. Yeah. So let me get back to my face now. But I'm seriously like, Nydia, I am in love with this deck. And I'm telling you, like, there's not too many decks that I come out and say that I'm so effusive about.
Oh, that means so much to me to hear you say that, because I was so nervous putting this deck out. I was looking at I had to force myself not to look at other decks while I was creating this, and especially after, and like trying to compare my artwork to other people's artwork, and like, oh, it's not as detailed as other decks, and like I was just very nervous about putting it out there, and it feels really good that people are able to like resonate and they, you know, enjoy the artwork, because I worked really hard on it.
I mean, sometimes, you know, too much artwork is distracting. Okay, sometimes there is too much going on, and it's almost like, well, what do I focus on first? With this deck, the art, for me, the artwork is just enough. I feel like anyone can use this deck. It doesn't matter, you know, your cultural background. It doesn't matter who you are. I feel like, especially, like I said, with me watching the show, I feel like I could be in that show. Like, I feel like that show relates to me on a level. I can connect myself with the different archetypes within that show and not feel, well, they're not really talking to me, or that couldn't apply to me. You know, like every character through their stages of growth within the program, I can relate to, whether I've had that, well, for the most part, a lot of those experiences on some level, you know? And I think it could be because of the philosophy behind the show. I don't know who the creator of this show, bloody brilliant, as they say. Like, it's a brilliant show. And back in the day when I was watching grown men watch this show, I was like, why are these grown ass men watching a freaking cartoon? Like, that was what I was saying, you know, why? And I don't know. When I saw this deck, I said, okay, what is this about? And then people started talking to me. Okay, you know, Queen, you got to watch this. Don't go to the movie. Da, da, da. And then there's Cora. That's the next part. And oh my gosh, Queen, da, da. And why didn't you guys tell me this like sooner? I would have been on top of it. But okay. Now, yeah, this is a deck that I'm excited about. So thank you so much, Nydia. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing more from you, keeping in touch with you. Let me know how things go. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that guidebook that you have. And then, you know, what I do with guidebooks, flesh it out a little bit more for me and such, because I'm curious to see what you've written. And, you know, that's it. Do you have anything else, Christina?
No, just again, thank you. Like, it's that first step that you took to really come into your own and to develop something. Like, good for you.
Yeah.
Like, taking that courage to be able to do that, especially now in this time when we're looking for this. We're looking for people to take that step and find other ways, because some people are running into walls. So
Right.
you've definitely used your creative thinking skills to think outside the box, and you took that step. So
Let me ask you this question, because if you watched my YouTube community thing a couple of weeks ago, have you gone to a publisher?
Have I gone to one? No, I haven't. It's one of those things where it's just so new to me.
Right.
I don't even know where to start or like who to go with. So I did a little bit of research on it, but I just haven't. It's like overwhelming, like how big of a learning curve it is.
Sure.
So, but I want to figure out how to get it published for sure, because I want to eventually be able to get off the pre-order thing and be able to, you know, fulfill orders as soon as they're placed.
Right.
But right now I have to wait until, you know, I have to get the printer to print it out and then ship them to me, and then I ship them out. So if there's a way I could streamline it, like, I'm all about efficiency. Like, I want it to be efficient for people who choose to support me.
Right.
And where they can order their deck and get it in 2 or 3 days. And also be able to get a guidebook and, you know, have all that stuff that should come with it.
Okay. I'm going to put some feelers out on your behalf. I'm going to do that, put some feelers out. I mean, frankly, I don't think the turnaround time is that long. 2 to 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I really don't.
Thank you.
That's why I'm placing orders like every other week, so I can keep a consistent roll. Yeah, right? That it's going to take some time. But you know what? You take your time. Take your time. One of the things I would tell you that when you go to a publisher, you stick to who you are. Stick to the essence of who you are, right? Because number one, not everything is for everybody. Okay. And while you want to reduce the turnaround time, don't allow yourself to be ethically challenged. right? Don't allow yourself to be creatively diminished because of that, right? You create this deck, and let's say it's only available when it's available to a few, and then you move on to, you're creating another project, and that's fine. You understand? Whoever it's meant to be for, they'll get it. And I think that adds to the cachet as well, right? I would rather spend, and I mean, this is a decent price for a deck, the money, and it's free shipping too. Do you ship overseas? You
Yeah,
do?
I do.
You charge for that though?
Yes, I charge for
Oh,
international.
okay, because I was, yeah.
Those can go real high.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I mean, free shipping within the continental US for the price of the deck. Yeah, you know, it's a $68. That's almost average these days. You know that?
Yeah, I did my research. I really researched that because I didn't want to. It was like, how do you not sell yourself short, but also make it accessible to people?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I really.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. My YouTube family is still with us. How long we've been on? Quite some time. Anyway.
I think over
What?
an hour.
An hour?
It's been an hour and a half.
Hour and a half? Yeah. We tend to be long-winded here. People know when they come to Queen Arsette's channel, we're just going to get something to drink and just sit down with the snacks and everything. It's okay. But thank you so much, Nydia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Christina, for being here. It's early in the morning. Well, now it's not so early. Thank you to my YouTube family for coming in. Let me know if you get this deck. I'd like to know your opinion, your thoughts. The Afro Avatar Tarot by Nydia of Colored Afros Art, guys. I will put all of her information in the bottom. Get your copy.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, darling. Take care. Say
All right,
bye.
you too. Bye.